everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, my host, Jose Romero.
What up, man? Happy Bat Day, or day after Bat Day for you, I guess. You saw it yesterday.
Happy post-Batman weekend.
That
It's
weekend,
the first
yeah.
week. It's the week that, literally the next day since Sunday, which was when I saw, and now we get to have a spoiler-filled review of Matt
Yes.
Reeves' The Batman.
Batman. We're getting spoilerific if you haven't seen it, which
Oh.
I'm sure you probably have.
Elbow deep
We'll
in the
share
spoils.
our
So,
thoughts about the film. We'll get deep into the weeds, if you will, and we'll speculate about what we think will be upcoming now that we've seen the film.
spin-offs and sequels and all the stuff.
all that good stuff. This whole Batman suit was stewing up here. Very excited to finally talk to you about it, Eric. I know you hadn't seen it
Yes.
when I did the review and we did it on Nerdsplaining last week. Real quick, I don't know what you thought about it. I haven't asked you. We had some issues and we jumped on, and so I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. But just to reiterate, I thought it was a very well made movie. I liked it a lot of good stuff. Had some issues, nothing major but third act stuff, and that one cringe moment, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute. A couple of small things here and there, but for the most part, I thought it was excellent, well made. Definitely worthy of the moniker of the Batman. When we're looking for like Patterson, Kravitz is great, etc., etc. Colin Farrell really liked a lot. So, but dude, let's get to it, man. I want to know what your thoughts were, fresh off viewing it. I know I've seen it twice. Hit me, man. Let me know. Like, what'd you think about this? Because I'm curious.
What a piece of garbage.
Are you serious?
I'm kidding.
I'm like, okay. I'm about to say, wow, we're going there already. I wasn't ready to put the dukes up here. I'm like,
I want people like, what?
wait, what?
You know, 'cause you think,
music stopped.
as I
People
was
just
getting ready-
crashing the highway. Thanks a lot.
As I was getting ready to watch it, there was people on my feed going, I just finished watching a 3-hour dumpster fire, aka the Batman. So there are people out there that are like, this is suck, and just straight up hating it. It just, which kind of made me uncertain to watch this, because you came in glowing. A lot of people came out glowing, but then every once in a while, I get like this clump of people just going,
Yeah,
and
every
then
movie has that. Let's be honest, right? Even the movies we like, there's always like a contingency that doesn't. That's fine. And this movie is not for everybody. I said that before.
no, absolutely
and
not.
it's not,
for
right?
everybody.
And that's okay, right? This is not.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is not a great superhero film.
This is a good. This is a really good, maybe even a great movie.
Yes,
But it's not a great superhero.
100% with you there. Agree. Absolutely. Yeah. And
It
to people, we're not disparaging the movie at all. It's just, listen,
not
when
at
you
all.
think about
Not
superhero
at all.
movie, you think Marvel because that's the standard, I guess, right, for the most part. But it's lively, colorful, fun, whatever.
They don't linger on the sad for too long.
Disposable.
It's there for a
right.
moment, and then we move past
disposable
it.
entertainment for the most part, special effects. I get it, right? We all love that shit. I love it. You love it. But once in a while, you get something like this, and that's a good thing, right? That's not that, and people might be turned off. And I completely get it, right? People told me it's too dark. What? Okay, I'm with you. I get it.
I'll say, here's the thing. When we first talked about it, I asked you, how does it compare to The Dark Knight? And you said Dark Knight's still a better movie. And after watching this, I completely agree with you. Dark Knight still holds the number one spot for like the best Batman movie. There's people out there who are giving this movie a 10, and I'm like, did we see the same movie?
Right?
Because it's not perfect.
It's not.
There are flaws and fumbles and foibles along the way. I think you're so excited to see something new that you're not still processing movie. Like, here's the thing. As great as the Batman is, and it is a really solid flick. I could totally understand people seeing it twice. Mm-hmm. Like, it's one of those. I saw it once, and I'm like, I think I had enough, but I'd like to see it one more time just to really kind of experience it. And that's how good the movie is, that after 3 hours, there's a party that goes, I'd see that again. Like, to kind of really appreciate, take it all in. So that in itself is a testament.
There's a lot to digest in a movie like this. So seeing it twice can help you gain perspective and okay, yes or no. Because there's so much there, and it's just hard to decipher,
and
right?
In comparison, The Dark Knight's 2 hours and 25 minutes. So really, the Batman squeezed in an extra 20 out of it. That's all it's really doing.
Sure.
It's not
Yeah.
that big of like a,
No,
oh
yeah.
my God, these are so
Right.
long. Like, no, like
Yeah.
Dark Knight is up
Mm-hmm.
there. But here's the thing about the Dark Knight is that they were, and this is a testament to Nolan as a director, he can compact a lot into its exact necessary
Yes.
time needed, so it doesn't feel rushed, but you don't linger on it any longer than it has
Right, there's
to.
no really waste. Like you
And
don't come out Dark Knight saying, "Oh, you could have shaved off 15, 20 minutes." You don't really say that, right? And
everyone who's loved it, which is weird because everyone who's seen the movie loved it or hated it. It's like that movie did not need to be
yeah,
that long. You could have
sure,
shaved 15, 20 minutes off of
absolutely.
it. So stuff like that, that's how I don't understand. Like even people who love this, like, yeah, you could, if you could admit that it could have been improvements, it can't be a 10.
No, it's
That's
not.
just
Yeah, anyone says a 10. Listen,
that is a movie equivalent review of I love you, but I'm not in love
yeah.
with you. And that's
I mean, I don't think. Well, I'm not gonna say no movie's a 10. It's hard to find a 10 film, right? It really is. 'Cause a 10 for me is just like flawless, and there's not many of them out there. Let's just keep it real, right? You want to say
right.
it's a 10 in the realm of superhero films? Okay, that's a conversation I'd be happy to have. This is not a 10. I'm not. That's not a bad thing.
Not a 10.
This is not
It's
a
not a
10.
10. It's not, and it's not
No,
bad.
this is a really good movie. It's
Really
it's
good
put together
movie.
so
Like
well.
I'll tell you how good the movie is that in spite of all the faults that we find in, you could say, or you're nitpicking or like you're just hyper focused on this.
Sure.
If it's a perfect movie, no, nothing should pop up at you as like, well, that's
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
because you're so lost in the movie. That's why for movies feel like The Dark Knight is a better movie. Because at no point I was like, well, that's weird. I was like, oh, like I was in
Right.
from the
You're
from
in.
the from the
Right. Like
get
if that
go.
movie would have been 3 hours long, I wouldn't have come out saying, you could have shaved up.
Yeah,
No, at all. Right.
exactly. It was just
Yeah.
the right amount of
No
everything.
wasted scenes. It is what it is.
Here's how good the Batman is. Normally, a superhero movie doesn't do more than two villains a movie. This movie technically gave you four Batman villains, three of them costumed in one movie, and it felt smooth.
Yeah, you're right. And
Felt
normally that's can be a
it would be like,
huge
oh, what a
fault in a
cluster.
lot of films
Like
we've seen that have multiple
the
villains, right?
only normally for a movie to have that many characters not to feel cluttered
Yeah.
and clumsy, it would have to be the culmination of a 10-year storyline you've told through movies.
Right.
Like, all right, now everyone did there, but it
No,
all
you're right.
makes
It's
sense.
hard to. We've seen. I don't think have we seen like really succeed, like having 3, 4. I don't think we've seen that. I mean,
No,
as far as
no,
comic
no.
book, because listen, would it be
I
Spider-Man
think the last
3,
time we saw
Spider-Man 2?
more than two villains, I think the last time we saw more than two villains in a movie was Batman and Robin, and that movie was a
No, I
train
would
wreck.
say
So
Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think they had like
no, they had two villains.
no,
They had Electro and
we had
Hobgoblin.
Rhino too. He was in there.
Three. Once again, it's the
Yeah,
threes. You hit
the threes.
threes, and it all
Yeah.
falls
Oh,
apart.
Spider-Man 3
Twos,
had the same issue.
yeah,
With Venom, Sandman,
and
and
Harry
Osborn.
Osborn.
Right. So
It's the
it's hard.
yeah, it's
It's
that's
hard
the
to juggle
that's the
that. It
that's the
really
thing.
is hard to juggle. It is what it is, right? You can do two.
One villain, great. Two villains can be
Can be great.
great. Three on it sputters out of
Yeah.
control. It's all just
Yeah,
a
and
mess.
this managed to balance all
This
that.
movie they gave you four effortlessly, like they weren't even trying. Granted, they did have an extra 40 minutes to do it, but that being said, really, really good. Really, nothing felt forced. In the context of the movie, everyone's character was consistent. If I have to give it a rating,
That's tough. Well, it's not tough. I think
yeah, on an alphabetical scale, as if it was a test, I give it like a B plus. If it was a grade number, I give it an 8.9.
I
As a superhero movie, I give it 8.9. If you're gonna judge it as a movie, I give it a solid 9.
as a film, probably 9. As a superhero
9.
film, I'll
That's what I'm
say
saying.
an 8.
As a film,
It's a 9. I'll leave it as a 9 because listen, I prefer it be more successful as a film than just a superhero movie.
I
Right?
agree. I
So
agree.
I
I
would
feel
say
like
9. I'm fine with that. You take that for what it is, right? Yeah.
the Batman is such a good movie that if you took the Batman out of it and just put like a private eye, it worked the
Of course,
same.
and this is where you have a movie that transcends its genre, right? The people say it all the time about, oh, this movie is this, and it's most movie. Listen, like I heard someone talking about the other day about how Ant-Man is a heist film and a super. It's not a heist film. It has a heist in it. Doesn't make it a heist film. It's not. It's because you have a couple of laughs in the movie. It's not a comedy. It's got a heist, but it's still a superhero film, and that's fine. Most movies are superhero films, and that's okay. That's what they're supposed to be, right? Even Logan, I love Logan. People said, "Oh, it's an independent western," and I feel the same way. But it's still a superhero movie with those elements attached, right? This was, you're right, a thriller mystery. Which, yeah, you could have subbed in Batman for
Suspense.
agent, detective, whatever, and it probably would have worked almost to the same degree.
You could have done this with like I said, any like hard boiled
Yeah,
detective, Richard Parker, fucking Dick
whoever,
Tracy could have
yeah,
made it
anybody,
worked as
right? I
like
mean,
it would have
you
worked
could
in
have
that
Riggs and
thing.
Murtaugh in a Lethal Weapon 5, and this it would
It
fine.
would I mean it would have been the most grittiest
Right,
lethal
it would have
weapon
been
ever.
a
But
different take on it, but that's what I'm saying. That's what separates this movie from a lot of superhero films. And I think it went beyond that. I think that was Matt Reeves' goal, and he succeeded in spade. Again, but you're right. It's a superhero film. No, okay, I get it.
I
It's
mean,
not a family film. It's
once
not for
again,
kids. You know.
once again, I will reiterate this. This movie's so good. It took the main two villains from Batman Returns and half the villains from Batman Forever and made it
Yeah,
work.
yeah, and that's not easy. Because
No, not
like I
easy at
said,
all.
Riddler is a ridiculous character, and he is.
Hey, first of all, fuck you. All
He
right.
is. I'm just saying he's
So
silly,
yeah,
but it's fun. But I mean, in a movie sense,
you can fuck off right
it
now. Is
is
what I'm
hard.
saying.
But
No, the Riddler is awesome.
he's ridiculous.
Riddler.
But I'm not saying he's
Here's a
bad. I'm not
problem.
saying he's bad. He's just over the top.
Here's a
You
problem
know.
with the Riddler is that he is so smart that unless you're an equal genius, it's hard to write him, and that's what
Maybe.
makes him a great character. Because when you nail it, you nail it. And here's the thing about this Riddler too. And let's talk about this world that they've
Mhm.
created. This world, just like as a comic book, there's tons of comic book elements that he pulled from different things. The world they created is a mishmash of a bunch of elements from a bunch of movies. It is you've probably heard this say thousands of times. It is a noir
Sure.
movie. It is a crime drama. It is equal parts Seven as it is Chinatown.
Yeah.
It is the Zodiac killer meets I'm trying to remember this movie where the mobster's trying to get out of he's got like one last heist for it to get out, but
Mm.
it's very much that element of like everyone there is broken, everyone's damaged, there is no bright light, everyone's got a smudge of gray on them. And you know, if you we I think we I one of my questions to you from when we first
Mm.
recorded when you talk about you watch it is I said, could Joaquin Phoenix's Joker live in this world? You're like, absolutely, without even a doubt, it could exact. And after watching this movie, if you thought the Joker was too dark, this movie is 1 degree lighter from the Joker.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
1 degree. So if you're like, oh, I can't do the Joker, like you might be able to do this movie with like 3 bathroom breaks, and then you're like, okay, I'm good. Like
Right.
I got
Yeah,
through
because
it. So
and listen,
that
this yeah, you do get some cool action, which we'll talk about later. But we do get stuff inserted. Joker is more of a drama, right?
right,
This one obviously
very
this
much so.
had some cool action, so obviously it holds your attention more so than a Joker would, I think personally, in terms of just pure entertainment value. Um, Not enough to where I said again, this is not a family film. It's not a I don't think kids rushing out. Yay,
You know,
Batman!
it's
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 different.
funny because when I watched this movie, it reminded me a lot of like the whole drama that happened with Warner Brothers when Batman Returns came out, and McDonald's had a tie-in with Batman Returns that apparently lost a lot of money because nobody like the pig one is gross, so I don't want him on my Happy Meal. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, Tim Burton, your design department, and Danny DeVito,
yeah, yeah,
all of you
yeah,
guys. I apologize, but this combination is a horror show. So,
yeah. I can't
so I'm
disagree with
watching
that.
this movie. I'm like, I wonder what the McDonald's tie is going to be to this one. Cause wow,
Yeah, seen these toys at Toys R Us or whatever. Well, not Toys is gone, but
Oh my
whatever Toy
god.
Store happens to be now. I mean, no, but
Oh man.
yeah, because it's a different film. It's just for adults, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great, right? And listen, kudos to Warner Bros. For making this kind of film. It's a risk. This is a
Yes.
risk.
Yeah, it is a
You know.
risk, and I'll say this as well is that even though this movie's meant for adults, if you are like a real brave 12-year-old, this movie is going to be your first experience to like this is what the adult world is like, and every kid needs a movie which kind of introduces them to like sometimes good people just get God, like this is
Sure.
the movie that
Yeah.
eases you into that. It is the most optimistic dark adult movie you'll ever
Yeah,
see. Like that's
yeah. Like I said, this is it's something like I told you. You asked me before when I first saw it, and like what tier Marvel would it be? And it's just you can't compare it because the tones are just polar opposites, right? From what Marvel gives you,
I mean
what this is giving you.
the closest I could say that it meets would be like the Winter Soldier would be the closest to tone, but that's like saying close like like New York to Florida is
Right.
close. Like it's on the East
Yeah,
Coast.
like it's closer
They're
than New York
there.
to LA,
Oh yeah,
but it's still
no, no,
far as
yeah,
fuck.
it's totally closer than LA.
Right, but it's still far.
But
It is.
it
Yeah.
is they're both on the East Coast, but that's the closest Marvel even has to
Exactly.
that.
And
You
listen,
see what I'm
and
saying?
that's another thing I liked about this film is that listen, everyone loves the MCU and the shared universes, all that's great, but it's nice to have a standalone, particularly with with Joker is one thing, but you're taking a marquee hero and give us a standalone, not tied into whatever the Snyderverse or whatever the fuck is going, a film in its own world and keep it that way, right? And it's cool to have that. And I know Marvel can't do that because of what they do, and that's fine. That's fine. But it's nice to have a change of pace, man. You watch Batman, you don't have to watch
Absolutely.
20 other
Not
movies or all this setting up super.
everything doesn't have to be like
They
everything
don't.
else.
And it's great, and I
That's
like
what
that. That we need that, right? It's good to have that.
variety is
Juxtaposition.
the spice of
Exactly. Yeah,
life.
Marvel was his own thing, and it's great that DC do what they do, and they're still doing some shared stuff, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
every so often,
And
yeah,
it
give us a
just
Joker, right?
and
Give us a Batman, which
the
is like, oh, okay, cool.
they'll Venn diagram each other. Well, they'll overlap in terms of tone here
Sure,
and
of course.
there, but overall,
Yes.
they stick on their corners and they can be appreciated for both.
And
And that's always been the one thing. Like the one thing we've always said Warner Brothers did really well is when you give a director the right to create his
correct.
movie. Like
Their vision.
Christopher Nolan couldn't have worked in a shared
No.
universe. What he wants to do is beyond what they want to do. So like it's not gonna happen.
Agreed. 100%.
So
Yeah. And Matt
so
Reeves would
this is
never have. And he actually had an interview. He came out and said he wasn't disparaging Marvel. He's like, I just, in paraphrasing, it's not for him. He wouldn't work in that environment, right? With Marvel does what they do. He want to do his own thing, and with Marvel, you're stuck with a certain style that you have to adhere to, right? Or even storyline, or ensuring that it ties into whatever else is tying into. This is his own thing. Do what you want to do. Don't worry about anything else. This is your film, your vision. Go for it. Make it dark, great. And I'm glad Warner Bros. Allowed him to do. And listen. We know DC has its issues, obviously, right? Particularly early on, but
yeah.
I say over the last, since like June last year, I think Warner Bros. Is hitting more so than Marvel in terms of, look, we got Suicide Squad, which is great. Batman, great.
Amazing.
Peacemaker,
Amazing.
right? With Marvel,
So much fun.
Marvel has been an inconsistency. Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi was good. We all love Spider-Man, but I'm saying they've been more up and down what
Yeah.
DC used to do. Now they I don't know. Hopefully they continue that consistency. We got Flash, Shazam. I'm hoping they keep it up, right? They got momentum here, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great when both DC and Marvel are hitting on all strides. It really is. Whether you hate one or the other,
It is.
we all win. We all.
It's the kind of feeling you get when you get like French fries from McDonald's, but a Frosty from Wendy's, and you dip it together. They're like, both of you guys are so different, but every time I have
so
both
good.
delicious.
And everybody wins, right? I mean,
Everybody
I know
wins.
people hate some people hate
Everybody
DC
wins.
more. I don't get. Listen, it's better if they all succeed, and I'm glad to see DC is at least on a roll, on a very
Yeah.
good, not just like great roll. We haven't seen this kind of roll from them since they started doing this. Right?
Not
At
not
least the
since
DCU.
not since
You know.
not since the Dark Knight have I seen like when Batman Begins came into the Dark Knight, I was like, this is dope.
Right.
I'm
Correct,
into
but yeah,
this
but
world.
since with Snyder's, whatever you want to call it, I mean, yeah, there's been up and a crazy
Yeah.
inconsistency. Some good films there, some shitty. Okay, I hope they keep it. I really do, and because I like this. It's okay to give it some DCU stuff, give it some completely off-world whatever they're gonna do, and it's working TV, and they're doing like we
Yeah.
got the Gotham spin-off, couple of spin-offs, fantastic, right? I mean,
Wait, but before we get
but
to
yeah,
that, let's talk. Okay, so the movie starts off. What I thought was really cool. It starts off almost like a '70s movie, where you just flash the title of the
yeah,
movie and it goes
yeah.
right in. Like there's no hyperbole, no intro credits. It goes
You
right
have
in, and
the narration by, of course,
by
Pattinson or
Batman.
Batman.
This is the
Yeah.
first movie where you actually hear now.
Mhm.
Well, there was in Batman Begins. He sort of narrated while he was learning from experience about learning about crime. Remember, he did that little
Yeah, a
part
little
where
bit, but
a
not the
little
same.
bit,
Not the
but
same, right?
this movie, the narration comes from Batman writing in his journal, and I feel like that
Right.
gives it a much more focused, like this isn't just something where I'm like, oh, I'm realizing this. Like this is my thought to committee to paper because everything I'm gonna write down, I need to reference later, so it has to matter because I'm fucking Batman, and so
And yeah,
automatically
so
the
I mean, he's
city
setting up the world, right?
feels
How dark and gritty. It's you can tell from the
yeah,
beginning.
the
Yeah,
city
yeah,
feels the city feels grimy. Like I said, very much a seven like kind of world.
yeah.
Like I could very much imagine someone in Gotham reading about a killer has police detective shoot him in the face after finding wife's head in box. Like, wow, that must be crazy. Glad that doesn't happen in Gotham. Like, but that was in 2001 before shit got
And what was
weird for
awesome
them.
was, when they, they show some of the criminals, like criminal activity going on, whatever, and they flash up and there's the bat signal up, and the
Yeah,
reaction from the criminals, right? And
the
you see like one,
criminals.
one guy in particular, he robs a bank or a liquor store, or whatever, and he's
Right.
there, and
It's a
a
grocery
grocery
store. It's a
store, right? And
grocery
he
store.
comes down and he sees the the light, and then there's this dark alley which he focuses, and he's, oh shit, is he there? And that fear,
And
like, oh,
and
where
this
is
is
he? Like, fuck,
the great narration exactly because Batman says in his diary, the city's a big place. I can't be everywhere,
right,
but he's now weaponized fear. So every criminal thinks I could be
right. He's
there,
right there in
and
the shadow,
so
which is super cool. I like that a lot.
and it's
Yeah,
super cool. And you have this great moment where what usually where criminals would go to get cover now becomes like, oh man, I can't go there because the Batman might be
right.
there, and that is
Yeah.
that
That
was
was cool.
really
That was a
fun.
good setup. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then when Batman finally does show up, there's a scene you see in the trailer where it's the street gang dressed as like Jokers, um, and which to me, especially after knowing what I know about the movie, kind of feels like they were homaging. Like you're in Batman Beyond, there was a Joker
Oh
gang that
yeah. Hmm.
homaged the Joker. I kind of feel like that was like their allusion
Possible.
to
Yeah. Hmm.
there's a Joker out here and we're dressing like him for
Yeah.
Halloween. And they're going around just playing the knockout game. People get punched in the face, that kind of thing. And there's this great moment where they're initiating this new guy into this gang, so he only has half his face painted. Which, by the way, is that not the guy who
I was
played
about to tell.
Tim
I was about to
Drake?
say if he had caught that, it is. Yeah, from Fun
I
Titans. Yeah,
yeah.
same guy.
I caught
Mhm.
that, and then I was like, let me go online and find out it is. And as soon as I wrote Tim Drake, tight actor, the Batman, people were like, this movie is gonna make this kid the Robin. I was like, this is a different world,
Different
man.
world,
It's a
different world.
totally
Yeah,
different world.
it's a
Like,
good like nod to those because I saw him
yeah,
like that's him. We just saw him in Titans, unfortunately Titans.
yeah,
Not to be compared with this by any
no,
stretch of the
so
imagination,
much.
but it was cool that he's
Like
in
if
it. It's like,
this
oh, that's pretty
Batman
cool. Yeah,
met the Titans Batman, he would he would paralyze him permanently. It's like I can't let you out there. You're making a mockery.
seriously.
Things have gotten worse because of you.
Oh, fucking Captain
So,
Friend Zone.
oh my god.
But it
So
was cool. That was a nice nod to DC fans. Yeah,
that was a nice
yeah.
nod. I like
Mhm.
that, and I liked the fact that he only spoke when the after some guy said, who the hell are you? And he goes to attack Batman with a machete. He pummels him. You've seen the trailers of the
Right.
extended car where he just pummels his dude in the face like 100 times, and then he says, "I'm vengeance." So apparently, whenever anyone asks him who he is, he doesn't say, "I'm the Batman." He says, "I'm vengeance." But apparently, the newspapers have dubbed him the Batman because he looks like a
Right.
bat. So, and he proceeds to fight these dudes, and I liked seeing the Batman move He looked very competent. It didn't look stiff. It
Good.
moved fluid. The collar design where the mask is not connected to the body armor really helps flow, so he can make him look like he's actually fighting. He used a couple of gadgets to help win the fight, like he electrocuted that dude's
That was cool.
neck
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Obviously, the bulletproof armor. Let's talk about the bat suit because holy crap, this is the most resistant bat suit I've ever seen in all the Batman movies.
It, it's
It
it's it's armor is what it is.
it is
With the
armor
exception of a
and
shotgun close range that finally did
yeah,
it in, which
yeah, it took a
which I'm
shotgun.
glad to see because that would have resisted that. I'm like, God damn that. I mean, geez, he's in the struggle. He must have been
He's
Superman.
he's still
He's,
kind of he was
he was alive.
alive.
I mean, it
That's
was enough to
resistant.
take the heat, but I mean, it fucked him up. It really did,
But
right? Yeah.
wait. We're gonna get to that part. But here's the thing. There's a couple of times in the movie where his body armor straight up saves his life. The just bang 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 whole
Right.
thing. This is one of my complaints with the
Okay.
movie is I don't like my Batman bulletproof. I like a Batman who's got
I
some
get it.
protection
Yeah,
because you need
I'm with
it,
you.
but you like part of you is that you move so fast or you're so well trained that you can almost like predict based like in the Batman comic book storyline Hush, which a lot of people talk about as like a really fun storyline for Batman. Batman is so much in tune with the criminal element of Gotham that when he goes into a crime scene, he knows all the henchmen. This guy's this. He just got released 2 years ago. But because he knows all the people who get hired for muscle for crimes, he also knows their weakness. Like, oh, he got his shoulder blade broken 3 years ago, and that's where he punches and he disables the guy specifically because he knows where their weak points are. Like that Batman is is terrifying so much so that he doesn't. Even though he's got his suit has all the gadgets and everything, it's still just essentially like a light body
Sure.
armor like Kevlar and or a super version of Kevlar, and he's moving around. I don't like a bulletproof Batman. I feel like it takes away a lot from his necessity to
I'll give you that.
be
Yeah, it takes
the
us some
Batman.
mistake. That's something that Nolan really got right, where the suit was protection, but you know, it's not indestructible, right? He still had to move and all
Exactly,
that. Yeah, so
exactly.
yeah, because sometimes even there's a one scene with the machine guns, and it's a really great looking scene,
Which is
dope,
beautiful. I
awesome.
mean, the
It was
shot of it
great.
is beautiful. But we'll give you an example, and this connects to later in the movie. But this is a good point. When I was watching that scene, as cool as that
Hmm.
looked, part of me thought, how cool would it be if the bat suit they were doing was closer to the Dark Knight suit in terms of like
Hmm.
practicality, mobility. So as he was going in there, it wasn't him just walking like down. You actually kind of caught glimpses of him like juking real fast to the side.
Yeah,
So
there's a scene in
like little stuff like
what
that.
Nolan and Dark Knight Rises. Nolan had a scene very similar to that. I mean, he's in the tunnels and they're shooting at him, and they kind of he's dodging and then
Yeah,
gets the guy at the end.
right.
That was this one was just more like it's very. You can tell it was, I won't say
Oh
it's an
no,
homage, but
no,
you can tell it was a very similar kind of scene, with the exception that yeah,
that's from Batman
yeah.
Begins.
Is it
There's
Batman
she started
Begins?
Batman
Okay,
Begins.
I thought it was
Yeah,
Dark Knight
it's
Rises,
it's
but yeah.
in Dr.
Okay.
Harbor,
No,
right?
no, with Dark
That
Knight
kind
Rises,
of
there's
thing.
a scene. He's in a tunnel, and they're showing that scene.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
and you see
okay,
the gun, the flash is the only light you see, and then
right.
it gets dark and really quickly.
I
You know.
actually saw an interview with Matt Reeves, and he was talking about how he actually did a version of this in one of his Planet of the Apes movies. And he thought, wouldn't it be cool instead of because of Caesar taking out the guys in a dark
Okay.
tunnel? And so he goes, wouldn't it be cool instead of Caesar, it was Batman, and what was really cool about that because I watched the whole interview is that whole scene was filmed practically. There's no CG effects or anything. They filmed it in 3 different takes
Nice.
and then just edit together. But it was all practical. They choreographed the whole thing. Oh, that's awesome,
Yeah.
fantastic.
But yeah,
But as cool as that
but you're right.
is,
It does it take away some of the stakes, right? It's not like okay, people shoot at him. We know he's not gonna die, right? We know he's not gonna die anyway. But I mean, you
exactly,
want that illusion, like okay,
exactly. I
maybe there's a a
when
chance, or he gets
after
shot, he
I
gets
saw
hurt,
that
whatever,
scene, the physical threat to him became. I was like, oh well, I guess he'll take it then. Like it was like, oh crap, was he gonna be a star? It's like so. Like for example, if you talk about when he gets shot in the chest with the shotgun, I was like, I'm sure he's fine. Like
Right,
like
right, right.
there's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
part of me
yeah. But it
right.
was I mean, I'm glad that they finally went down or whatever, or he got hurt or what.
Right, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that scene because that scene has a cool possible Easter egg that I want to
Okay.
talk about as well. But so takes out the criminals, and the guy who he saves is just as scared of
Yeah.
him as the criminals who beat the crap out of him. And before he can kind of even process that, he notices that the bat signal's out, and that's Commissioner Gordon calling him. This is the first time that he talks about how him and Gordon have a sign, and this is the first time that Gordon is physically bringing him into a crime scene. So all these cops like, who the
Yeah, I
fuck
know.
is this guy? Uh, and what I loved about it was how he never flinched. And I think that's the thing that makes Batman the Batman is no matter what happens, he doesn't
Right.
flinch. So no matter how weird people are looking at him, if he showed an ounce of like, shit, this is weird, they would have arrested him then and there. Like it would have been this movie would have been over. It would have been a whole different kind of movie. But the fact that he doesn't flinch was really interesting. And once again, watched his Matt Reeves interview, and he was talking to Robert Patterson, and he's like, Robert Patterson's like, I can't show these guys how uncomfortable it is to have them look at me in
Right.
in this Batman clothes. So I'm going to remove all my humanity and just be constantly looking for details because I'm a detective.
Sure.
So I don't care. I'm looking for details. And so that sort of like ego removal kind of thing, I thought was really
That was a
interesting
good, that was
to
a good take.
play. And this whole scene, from the minute he shows up to beat up that gang to this, really lets you know who Batman is in this movie. Like everything you need to know about Batman is
Yeah.
given to you in this like 15 minutes chunk
Yeah.
of the movie. So let's talk about Robert Pattinson as the Batman. What did you think?
I liked him as Batman. I'll put it this way: he was good given what the material he was given. Right? He played a role a certain way. I like that disconnect that he had with humanity. Almost, he was very
Yeah,
robotic. He has his issues, and I like that. It's very serious and all that. I
you
would want. I think for this movie, it worked great. I would down the road like to see it expanded more, particularly Bruce Wayne, because when it was Bruce Wayne for the one
right.
scene, he's Batman without the cow, right? And that's fine,
He
right? It
really
is,
like
but which is fine,
the ones. Are we talking about the funeral
Yeah,
scene?
right. But that's like the one of the few times you see him out. But the only time we really see him out as Bruce Wayne, quote unquote, right?
By the way, I think that's a great scene to bring up because the funeral scene where they're going to the funeral of the mayor who
Right,
was
right.
killed in the beginning of the movie by the Riddler, and it's the first time we see
Mhm.
Riddler, and Riddler really comes off as sort of very creepy
Yeah,
Zodiac,
very cool scene by the
um,
way. But yeah, yeah,
very very cool scene, and and as great crime noir mystery movies go, the first scene that re re not reappears, but is reinterpreted and leads to a big reveal. Like, oh my god, this was all part of this
right.
bigger plan, which you get to see, and it's really cool. But uh, seeing Robert Pattinson go out into the world as Bruce Wayne this one time, essentially, the suit that he was wearing was so not made for him that part of me was thinking, like, is he wearing his dad's suit? Like he did, like he's so focused on Batman that he doesn't have his
Right, he
own
doesn't
clothes. He's
like
just
no.
like,
He said he doesn't care about that, right? He's so focused on being
right,
Batman, right?
and that's
Which
the
is
thing.
cool,
He has no concern for
right?
Bruce Wayne or Bruce
At
Wayne
all.
or societal. I am here to
He's
avenge.
Batman, and that's all he is, and that's for the movie it worked, and I thought he did a really good job with that. But
And because of that, I have to give a lot. I have to give a lot of credit to Robert Pattinson because he's Batman all the time. He's wearing that mask for a
yeah,
long
yeah, yeah,
time, longer than I think any other
yeah,
Batman
of
actor's
course, yeah,
done. And that is completely committed. Like I'm going to make this
yeah.
role, and so that I was like, oh wow, this
Listen,
is like he's not just doing this as a gig. He's
right.
really
Listen,
for
he's
the
a great actor.
character.
He did a really good job. I just want to see that. Like we talked about, where it's like, okay, now moving forward, this is like I can kind of compare to Man of Steel, right? Where Man of Steel, Superman is a certain way, and then okay, now let's evolve beyond that, which we never got. I want to see Batman now evolve, expand that a little bit more, see a little more emotion in there, see a little more Bruce Wayne. 'Cause I think that's part of his growth, right? And
Yeah.
evolution. We need to see. Like, if we see this again next movie, that's gonna disappoint me. I don't want to
Like
see that.
another great scene where it shows that Batman only knows how to be Batman and not a person. Um, he ends up meeting and teaming up with Catwoman, and he ends up in Catwoman's apartment, and she is flirting with him
Yeah,
in a way of like like the fact that I have to throw game at you shows how much I like you because usually everyone's up all on this
sure.
and I'm having to give you lines. And the best he could do is you have a lot of
Yeah, I know.
gas.
It's
Like
like, damn, what do I
that's,
say here?
that's he's like, yeah, he doesn't know
I
what
mean,
to
yeah,
say. And
he's just like
I
he's
was
so
like,
detached from humanity. He doesn't know how to relate, and that's cool, right? I like that aspect of it,
yeah,
right?
but it was
Yeah,
great. Like
yeah,
that's exactly really interesting kind of aspect to have
right.
there.
He's not the most
And
interesting Batman we've seen on screen in terms of that, but again, that's not that.
I feel like he's the most
He's the most
committed.
committed,
Like
but
he's the
yeah,
most
but that's
committed
how
Batman.
I'm not blaming Patterson for that. He did
Right.
exactly what he
But
needed to do, and he did it very well. I thought he was really good.
I
What about
I feel like this movie has a. I feel like this movie has a lot of unintentional references to the Burton verse. First of all, having a Catwoman and
yeah,
Penguin in the same movie
yeah,
again. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
Warburton, yeah.
that's a little Burton. Second thing, this Batman is built like Michael Keaton.
Uh, like
He's not
like
ripped.
physique.
He's
Okay, gotcha.
not
Okay,
Christian
right,
Bale.
gotcha. He's not Ben Affleck was
Yeah,
ripped as well. Yeah,
Chris Robert Pattinson. It
yeah,
has Michael Keaton build. When I was like, do you really expect me to believe that Michael Keaton like this? Like, I know I could take him. Like, no offense. Like, I'm sure he's got a great jujitsu game, but I feel like I could take Robert Pattinson. Or Robert Pattinson Batman. I feel like I could take him a little bit.
yeah.
Not in the suit. Outside of the suit, I feel like I could take him. Not really an imposing. Like I know he's tall. I get that, but his build, it's skinnier and less defined than a swimmer's build. And I'm like, that's kind of Michael Keaton's body.
Yeah,
Like it's and
which is
so
fine. Listen, I was okay. I didn't care. I mean, he's not like, I mean, he's thin. He's got a little tone, but he's not like obviously he's not as physically imposing as a Christian Bale
yeah.
or
I
Ben
mean,
Affleck
you
was,
look
right?
at Christian Bale, you look at Ben Affleck. Those guys got Batman, and it was
Yeah, it
like
was
when
ribs. Yeah, big. Yeah,
yeah, when you saw them, like outside of the suit, you're like, that dude would still wreck like five dudes.
no, yeah. I
Like,
mean, yeah, they were. I mean, they were in crazy. But I'm glad they didn't go that route, right? I guess
are you
like,
glad?
yeah,
I'm a little bit like, it didn't even look like he was
I was
trying to
fine.
get to that route.
Like I was fine with that because I think at the end of the day, it's the suit that makes him look more imposing. And again,
But that once
it's
again,
different.
which defaults to my point, which is like the suit should not do all the work. Like
It's
you
a
look
fair
at
argument.
Michael Keaton, and it was like, well, those aren't his real abs; it's a
Well,
body. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
or
I
his nipples.
get that. I understand, but because back then no one was superhero committed to like doing physical stuff in that nature. Like, but you look at someone like Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, and they're like, yeah, these dudes are superheroes. They're
Right.
built like superheroes. So like, not for nothing. And when you look at the Doctor Strange trailer when he wakes up from the bad dream, I'm like, Doctor Strange is built more than Robert Pattinson. So
Probably, yeah.
yeah, but here's the thing, Robert Pattinson still acting wise sells the shit out of every scene he's in. There's no part of you going, this is not. Like I said, it's a bit of a nitpick, but I like my Batmans to look like they can kick some ass. He
Fair
didn't,
enough.
and so which again, because it goes back to the suit problem, which goes over to my one complaint about this, which is this Batman felt impervious in spite of the fact that he didn't show like he was physically impervious or could be physically impervious,
Fair
and so I
enough.
was a little disappointed about that.
No, I
So,
can see that. Yeah,
but
it's fair. What you think about Zoe Kravitz, by the way? Speaking of Catwoman,
oh, I
or
thought
Selena Kyle,
best
whatever.
Catwoman period.
Yeah, she was great,
Best
right? I liked her a
best
lot. I thought
comic
she stole
book
the show. I think she did.
like it is the most comic book accurate, modern day comic book accurate Catwoman I've ever seen, and I love modern day Catwoman. Like this, Darwin Cook's reimagining of Catwoman is my Catwoman. Period. And Zoe Kravitz is Selena Kyle. Like
Yeah,
this
she was
is
great. Yeah,
we got to see her as close as we're ever going to see her today to her year one version where she was a prostitute. This way she's a club
right.
waitress at an underground mob club. So that's the closest you're going to get to that. But her Catwoman suit was perfect. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it
no,
was.
she had a lot of energy. I liked her a lot. Like I said, I thought she stole the show as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
She
like
just
yeah,
had a lot of energy, good chemistry with this guy.
and
It worked. It
her
worked.
energy never
Yeah.
was like over the top. It
No,
was
no,
almost like she was cool and collected, and it was fighting against the energy she had to come out, and that's how like eye catchy she is as a performer. Like fantastic,
no, she was
super.
great because she could have oversold it at the end of the day, right? She could have been a little
Yeah,
bit too much. She was just right. I liked her a lot, and I hope. I mean, I guess she's still around. We'll see if she comes back. I hope she does. I really do. And sequel, the next one, whatever.
And now
You know
Colin
what?
Farrell Penguin.
I could see her if they give us HBO Selena Kyle show. I'm all over it.
Oh, I'd be off easy.
Oh,
I
okay,
hope
yeah,
she
yeah.
shows up in either the Penguin or the Gotham City PD spinoff.
The Ark, which is now that's actually what's become the Arkham show, by the way. On the side
Oh
note.
no, really?
Yeah, yeah. Matt Reeves was talking about that, and yeah, instead of
Oh,
doing
so
the Gotham City PD, it's more like we talked about last week, the Arkham
right.
show. That's kind of taking its place, if you will. So
Okay.
you're changing gears, but I could see her showing up in the Penguin show.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Colin Farrell, man, talk to me.
Dude, wow.
How
What
good
a
was he? Huh?
performance.
So
What a
good.
performance.
I love Colin Farrell.
I love the fact that he had a quasi New York, New Jersey
Yeah.
accent. All that was fantastic. I love the fact that he was a what you call a loyal criminal. Like he was like, it's about the family, and if you don't like it, I'll murder you myself. Like so, it's very much. I thought all that was great. The interrogation scene between the Penguin,
Oh
Batman,
my God.
and
Yes. Yeah.
Commissioner or Lieutenant Gordon. Oh, it
So
was
good.
great
Yeah.
because it showed you how steel as balls this dude is. Where after going on a crazy car chase to get away from Batman, almost dying, he was still giving them shit and not giving them anything. It's just giving them shit. And the one thing that he actually gave that helped break the case for them was a Spanish lesson. Like, who would have thought
Oh my God. Yes.
Colin
Right.
Farrell as a Penguin schools Batman Commissioner Gordon on Spanish, and that turns the whole movie.
That was fun. Yeah, I mean, now I get why there's a show about him coming up. I really do,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, I was like, all right, fine, but you see the movie, like, okay, I get it, and I'm 100% in on it. You know, particularly if they make it
I
rated R, like they're talking about, great. Fuck
I
yeah.
hope it's like Godfather 2, where you see him coming in and making the Falcone family his family.
I don't think because I would assume it's gonna be a sequel to this, not a prequel, right? I'm assuming that anyway.
It's gonna be a sequel. I heard it's gonna be a
I
sequel.
hope it is because now you saw the movie. Now he's like, okay, now he's ready. He's primed to take over since when Falcone
Right.
is gone. And now it's his show, and I think it's gonna be. I assume it's about him taking the mantle, right, of the
Right.
underground boss. I'm all for that. This could be a great gangster. Yeah, you're right. Godfather, Goodfellas, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Super excited about it. And he's so good. He's unrecognizable. But I mean, God damn,
I
like if
hope.
they hadn't told me
I
it's Colin
hope.
Farrell at any point, I'd be like, "The fuck is that guy?" I would never.
Yeah, I'd be. You're crazy.
Yes, no way. Yeah.
I hope that the Penguin series introduces us to how he starts getting his own special umbrellas, his trick umbrellas. That's what I want. I want trick umbrellas because that's my Penguin. My Penguin is trick umbrellas.
That's fair.
So
I can live with that. I guess, and I hope they do. And let's see. I mean, well, with the Batman's in it, I don't know, but I think Gordon being in it will make sense. You need that.
Gordon
You need
Gordon
that
can be in
presence.
both. He could be in both. He could be in the Arkham and he could be in Penguin, and
He
both of
he
them would
could
make sense.
agree, right? Because then you gotta have something there. You can't have Batman. I get it because it's, let's be honest.
No.
But you can have
Like
Gordon there. Hopefully,
you could have Batman in the last episode in like the
right,
last
or
5 minutes.
Or if you're in Arkham, he could be the first scene, bringing somebody in just to kind of set it up. But
Right.
yeah, he's not gonna be. Let's just keep that real. He's not gonna be in it. But Gordon makes sense because you need opposition, right? It's not Penguin fighting himself. So, but yeah, I'm super excited. I thought he was really, really good. Turturro was good as Falcone.
Oh, Falcone, yeah, it was great.
Really good.
Even though I will say, if I could pick any villain for the Penguin to go up against, I originally pitched this as my sequel to the Batman, but now after seeing the Penguin, I want him to have a mob war with the Black Mask, who was originally my counter villain.
Mm-hmm.
The series should be the Black Mask, and I have a whole new pitch for the sequel. I got it, but for the Penguin, just bring the Black Mask over and have the Black Mask and the Penguin go to war. And the idea of the reason why, after the end of the Batman, of how like Gotham has now literally sunk to its lowest level, and how do they pull out of it, and how do you take this tragedy as a power grab opportunity, makes a lot of sense. Because this is the kind of situation that it would embolden people that normally wouldn't make a move like this to go, I got it, because there's never going to be another circumstance like this again.
Right. Of course.
And so
yeah.
that's going to be really interesting. And then you can bring a lot of like weirder, lower level villains for it. I still say keep Mr. Zsasz for the originally Gotham PD, but now the Arkham thing, especially
Sure.
Arkham thing, which I heard the Arkham show is going to be more of like a horror show, like scary monster of the week kind of stuff that they wanted to
So
do.
like an anthology, I thought will make perfect sense for this kind of show. But
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I think we're a couple of years from that, so we'll get obviously details will get released as they come. But let's talk about the third act, right?
sure.
Because
Yeah.
this is where I had my biggest gripes. I mean, the length is one thing, fine, but as far as like legitimate like gripe, the third act for me was okay. It wasn't bad. There's some really good stuff in there. But the whole plan, and maybe you can help me. I don't know how you feel about this. The plan that Riddler had just seemed odd, right? After he's captured and he's in, he's talking to him through the, through the pane glass or whatever,
Glass.
whatever, and I thought you had it and you didn't figure it out, and obviously he had his bombs and this flooding. It just seemed a little too over the top for what Riddler was
I
doing.
I
You
kind
know?
of liked it. I'll be honest. I kind of liked it because what happened was it's almost like the super master plan, which is I'll I'll get caught. They'll put me in Arkham, which is away from Gotham, and then I'll have my followers. Which, by the way, kudos to this movie. Figure out a way to create henchmen with matching
Yeah,
costumes in a Batman movie. Like I was like, that's awesome. Like
yeah,
that's one thing Nolan never pulled off
mm-hmm.
was except for the League of Shadows, but that doesn't really count as henchmen. That's like an army.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
different thing, but yeah,
but this movie figured out a way to have henchmen in the costume
yeah.
themed of their boss, and I was like, awesome.
That was cool.
So
I mean, I
that
listen.
I like that.
This is the thing,
But
right?
wait. But his thing was, I'll be removed from Gotham. I'll flood Gotham. It's not going to make everything go into the sea, but it'll flood everyone to this one point, which is where the mayor was taking her election win, and then I'll murder everyone that's a representative of key government there to show that the corruption of Gotham go like I don't care who's in charge, you're also corrupt, and that's why you have to die. Like and making all of Gotham watch because everyone ran there to be away from the flood. That sort of like maximum damage all in one place was a pretty good plan. I liked that plan. What I didn't like was the fact that I'll tell you exactly when the movie started to lose me. After the Penguin helps them with their Spanish translation,
Okay.
and they figure out the riddle is to go to an orphanage, and they go in. It's the orphanage where Riddler grew up, and they walk in, and there's stuff spray painted like, oh, this is the sins of the
Send the
father
father, right?
passed on to the son, and this is where it all began. I'm like, ooh, this is real spooky. I'm digging this. And then they think they see somebody, and they go after him, and it turns out there's a bunch of
Oh,
drug
yeah,
addicts.
whatever the
Right,
drop, right? What they call it,
whatever,
drop the
right,
drug, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever their cool
right.
little version of what a drug is. Uh, they're all hiding out because it's basically like a drug den. You go there to get high and the whole thing, and they hear music from another room, and they open up, and there's a projector playing the commercial, and it's got the speakers around, and that's how you're hearing it. As a New Yorker, I know if you have electronics next to a bunch of drug addicts, that electronics is not going to be there. So when I saw that, I was like, I call bullshit. I'm calling
Fair.
bullshit.
I didn't think
There
about
are
that. It's fair.
way too many drug addicts to make sure all this
I mean
stays.
that's a fucked
I'm
up. That's a fucked up.
sorry.
They were. They didn't realize that was going on. You can
Maybe,
you can make that argument,
maybe that's it.
but I get it.
Maybe you know what? Did not take that into consideration.
It's possible.
I take back 45% of how I felt. That's it. I did not really give that thought.
But
I
it's
was like,
possible.
is that how
Maybe
powerful
the
the
you've been
drops
that
are?
drunk.
Holy
You just don't know
crap.
what the fuck is going on. Listen, it could
This
happen.
this city has a
You
problem
know.
and it needs help.
But I'll say this about Riddler's plan, right? Because it just seemed kind of. Because I think I would have been better served. He already had a bomb planted in her office for all I care, and the building blew up or whatever.
But
Because
here's
it's almost like he's hurting people. Because his thing to me was like he was almost mirroring what Batman was, right? There was a parallel that he was drawing, and
right. He thought
punishing.
he was setting Batman up, and then Batman would go in for
Right,
the kill.
he was working
Basically.
together, and it's in his warped mind, right? But he's going after people who deserved it, or just like Batman does, right? Vengeance, right? That was part of the
Right.
thing in the film, which I like how they tied it in the end. But okay, now he's putting how many innocent lives in there? It seemed out of character for the Riddler to do that, given what he was doing before. It seemed excessive. If he just said the plan was to kill the mayor, I get that, right? Maybe she's corrupt or whatever. The bomb goes off in the building. He saves people in the building. We had the same effect. It went so grand for me in the planet. It just didn't quite add up to what he was
To me,
presenting.
it looked like because he thought Gotham was so corrupt. First, his first round was to go after the people that created the corruption to that level, and then he was gonna wound the city to make everyone stop believing in it. And so that was his idea. It's like I'm gonna break the city. First, I'll kill the people who made it rotten, and then I'll break the
It's
spirit
possible,
of the
but he
city.
didn't. That was never made clear, right?
To me, that's
I mean, we're
that's
not
my
right. We're just
interpretation from what I
right.
took, and that's
Right.
interpretation.
We're
Just
interpreting.
like
That's what I'm saying. Is like I thought, okay, they could have made that his plan a little more clear. Like what exactly was he trying to accomplish? And it could have been done in a because the movie that third act. I'm not saying it was terrible, but it just didn't fit with the film and the tone.
well,
And it became that to me became a superhero movie at that point.
and, and this is another part about the Riddler's riddles and how the situation didn't work. The last part of the riddle involved saying when Batman brings the rat into the light,
Oh, right.
and then so Batman finally has Falcone, and he has proof that Falcone murdered somebody, and there's now connective proof to Falcone being the one who's
The rat or
in charge
whatever.
of all the
Yeah.
corruption of Gotham. But when he takes Falcone to get arrested, and there's all the cops there, when they're walking by a street light, he gets shot, and Evans freaks out, and Batman's like looks up, and there's a flickering light. I'm like, that is a. He's like, oh, I brought him into the
Right.
light. I was like,
It was
that's a
a
big.
huge coincidence. I'll give you that. I thought the same thing. I'm
It,
like, okay, whatever. I let it go, but I get
like
it.
what if the Riddler was taking a shit,
Right.
and like then the whole thing gogoes sideways?
Right.
No, like to me,
It's like the plan was too good. Like he anticipated that too well. I get that 100%. I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
and now that was a problem. And when people are like, "Oh, it's like 7," I'm like, "Yeah, but in 7, everything made sense and happened on an exact timeline. Even when he says we have to drive out into the middle of nowhere to get a package, he had a specific like when this happens, this will happen,
Well,
and this will happen.
even he said
And
he adjusted the plan. Kevin Spacey when he came in, it's like things had to when he got discovered. He said he had to change.
right
It wasn't like it just that was part of the plan. He's not to that point. He
from
right.
from
He
the get-go,
accelerated.
right?
He talked about that, right? We never got the Riddler, so I get 100%. I mean, this is not huge gripes for me, but there's stuff that I have. It's fair to point out that
it was huge
Yeah.
gripes for me because like the first couple of riddles were so good that the drop off to get to the end made me. I was once again. I jokingly say about having electronic sex with drug addicts, but that is a real thing that could have messed up the whole thing.
I agree.
And then if
Agree.
if that light wasn't flickering, would that have gotten Batman's attention, or he'd be like,
No,
"Oh,
yeah,
what
like,
happened?"
that
I guess
scene,
I
that I 100% agree. That's okay.
you
Whatever.
know.
But
So
I mean,
that's the kind of stuff that I was like, it took me out of the moment.
You're right.
I
I
had
felt
an
the same way.
easier-
Believe me, I did. I absolutely did.
I had an easier time accepting uh, uh, accepting the end of the movie, the big flooding and the sequence plan. I had an easier time accepting that than I did those two riddle
Fair
coincidences
enough.
back to
That's
back.
fair.
But
Fair. But I mean,
speaking of big leaps and getting to places, let's talk about the Batmobile. Because hot
that's
damn.
awesome.
Wow.
It's. I know when we first saw it, it's like, oh, everyone says, oh, it's a fucking regular car, and yeah, it was. But it's just when you see it in action, dude, and the sound design. Oh my god, I saw it. I saw IMAX second time, and it just, I literally like the sound was so up there, and it's like you feel like the wind. It's amazing because it's powerful as fuck.
It sounds like a dragon fucked a tiger. That's what it sounds like. It's insane.
Yeah, and that was a great chase scene altogether.
Oh, that chase scene.
Very cool.
Let me say when you think, oh, this is a muscle car that Batman souped up, and it's clearly souped up because you have flames shooting out from the front. You got the turbine engine in the back. Like it's cool, but at one point they're driving through crazy rain traffic. Which, by the way, here's another like inside thing that I got from watching this interview with Matt Reeves. All the rain was CG.
Oh, interesting.
The car drive, the whole rain, that was real, but it was the rain was the CG. I was like, oh wow, I did not know that. That's a great job, fantastic. Wouldn't know it.
Yeah,
wouldn't even know it otherwise. So talk about that is that I always it's that whole thing about like that one of the things I really did like about The Force Awakens is when they
Of
use
course.
practical effects
Yeah.
in conjunction with CG effects. So one of the things that make Marvel movies so good. That was just a great way of doing
Sure.
practical effects with CG effects to get the maximum. Great. That being said, like there at one point there are all these trucks driving around, and one of the trucks are hauling like these big components. It looks like they're building like an extension to a highway or something, and this giant concrete tube gets, and the Batmobile just plows through it, and I'm like, holy shit! The framework on that car
Yeah.
is bananas. To go through a whole car, boom! I was like, wow. And what I didn't know was it a great Colin Farrell scene? He's in the car. He's trying to drive away from the Batman. He causes this massive accident while these trucks are flipping over. All
Yeah.
that's done practically, by the way. And uh, he causes such a big accident on the freeway that all these trucks smash into each other. It's a giant explosion. Do you know that was all done
Really
in
now.
one take?
Wow.
From the
Interesting.
Colin Farrell perspective.
Right. Right.
Like when he's like, I got you. Like that was all like him in the moment just
Cool.
selling it. I was like,
Nice.
wow. That to me, that should go up there with the whole Heath Ledger one take
Right.
coming out of the hospital. Like it was both equally like just holy shit. Talk about nailing it on one. It was great. And then the Batmobile finds a ramp between the smashed up trucks and just drives over it and comes down and hits the Joker's, the Penguin's car, big flip over, and then he lands upside down. And then you have that shot that you've seen in the trailers where Batman's walking upside down. This moment of the movie, once again, great moment. Love the Batmobile. I will say this: Batman walking upside down,
Oh, that's
dope
such a great shot.
as shit.
And we saw it from the trailer. I wish the trailer hadn't ruined that, but yeah, it was a
But
cool shot in the trailer, and it was great in the theater.
But I will say, Batman looking down through the window looked weird. Like I was like, I don't need that shot. It would have been so much cooler if you didn't see that shot. It should have been just his feet walking and the Penguin screaming and like maybe the cape covering up the shot,
Right.
and that would have been perfect. You didn't need him going, hey, like I don't. That's it. I don't need that. I don't need that.
I got you. Let's talk about the not the credit scene. Let's put
Well, let's talk. Batman saves
Okay.
the day, and at the end of the movie, Batman realizes that he's got to be a force of
Right.
good, not just fear. And I will say this one: the big fight at the end, city's flooded. Riddler's goons are getting ready to shoot. They're shooting out people. Batman coming in, big dramatic scene, fight, gets shot in the chest with a shotgun, survives because armor. But he realizes that everyone is stuck down there, is going to die. Batman takes out this green vial and jams it in this place in his suit where he has it like made for this, and he gets pumped up and he finishes the fight and everything. And he takes down the last Riddler goon and like starts pummeling in the face. They're like, Batman, that's enough. When they take off his mask,
I know, right?
It's fine. Like he should have like a broken nose and a missing tooth. Like he should have been like a wreck. But I don't know if you know this, and maybe you do. Some people say, "Oh, that must have been adrenaline." I'm like, true, that could have been adrenaline, but adrenaline usually goes in the heart, not in the leg or
the whole.
In the comic books, Batman discovers a super steroid called Venom, and that Venom leads to the creation of Bane. And so I wasn't. Do you think that was Venom, or do you think that was just like an adrenaline shot?
I think I think the attention was an adrenaline shot, but I could see how we all think it's not. Because yeah, you could say it's Venom. Because I don't know if he's gonna go Bane. I don't know. Maybe it could be again. I don't know if because he hasn't even plotted the movies out yet. So I don't think he was thinking that far ahead. To be honest with you, so I think it's adrenaline. I think in his mind that's what he was doing. For us, I'm saying it was Venom.
Sure,
his Venom. Yeah, so
I think so too.
I mean, if Bane ends up showing up, then obviously, yeah, that's Venom. But that was cool. I did catch that call, friend. We caught that in the theater. You know, we're like, oh
but
shit.
I like the end where Batman realizes he can't just be fear.
Right.
He can't be vengeance.
The effect he's had on the people fear him, right? That's not his intention. And he realizes he needs to be hopeful. And that's what I'm saying. The second movie needs to grow from what this did, right? And I think I hope it does. And I want to see the same thing again because
it's got to show. It's got to show him learning. His Bruce Wayne is not going to be like, if you're smart, they should treat Bruce Wayne like Spider-Man origin story in the Marvel movies, where he didn't hear his
Right.
great power comes great responsibility line until the third movie. Like he should not be the fully functional Bruce Wayne until the third movie. The second movie should be where
Right.
how he
And
learns to
using
be human.
that hope, right? He's not vengeance. He's a hero, right?
Yeah,
People have to see that attached to that. And actually
right.
turn around the city. They should do that. And I hope they do. Which is why I didn't mind it this being, oh, people complain it's dark. Listen, I get it, right? He's fucked up in the head. That's what he is. Batman is, that's what he's always been. But seeing that effect, I like that. It was very subtle too. They didn't hammer the head with that. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Now let's move on from that point. So I'm hoping and like I said, that's why I hope to see more Bruce Wayne separate from Batman. 'Cause I think
yeah.
for myself, I think being Bruce Wayne is important, and him showing that there's people in the city who aren't Batman doing good shit, right? Setting the example, and I think he should be the
Right.
beacon for that as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, right? So the whole point.
I say doing that works really well, especially if Matt Reeves wants to do
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze in the sequel. It should be Bruce Wayne's
Correct.
humanity that
Exactly.
connects
Yeah.
and saves him from Mr. Freeze. And I'm like, that would be a really cool, like,
Right.
like
And I
arc
think that's what the
point for
movie's
both
going. I
of
think
them.
this
So,
is and it's
yeah,
setting up perfectly for that. Now, Matt Reeves is a smart guy. I'm sure he'll do just that.
we don't need to tell
We'll tell him
him how
anyway,
to do it, but
he
we're going to
should
tell
do
him how to
it.
do it. So,
Let's talk about the final scene. One of the final scene. I'm not sure what not the final scene, but let's go back to Arkham. Let's go back to Arkham.
the lead
This,
up to
man,
the
I
end of
told
it.
you this. I
Right.
hated
So,
this scene.
I got to tell you,
God.
I liked it. I liked it. I liked it. And the thing we're talking about, guys, is at the end, the Riddler is watching
Mm.
from his Arkham cell that he's been stopped by the Batman. And here's the thing, I didn't like the beginning of the scene, but I like the end of the scene because the beginning of the scene, Riddler's scene, his plan has failed, and Riddler's come off as at the at worst he's come off as meek.
Yeah.
At most, he's
Sure.
come off as
Fair
psychotically
enough.
in control. When he discovers that he's failed, he diverts to this weird
Yeah.
autistic Down
Yeah.
syndrome.
That was weird. Yeah.
And I'm like,
That
no,
was
no,
odd.
don't do that.
That was
Like,
odd.
it could have started off like that and then become rageful. Like, that would have been cool because he is
Sure.
rageful. He's committed
Yeah.
murder and acts of violence. So he's got rage in him. But to have him, like, just be like a sad baby,
Yeah.
I was like,
it's
don't,
surprised he just
no,
didn't
don't.
put his
No,
foot
you
down.
want to show that he's damaged. I get it.
Basically, should have done.
Yeah, I get it, but don't. It should have started like that and then gone into like
Right.
this is why he's a supervillain.
Yeah, and you're completely right about
And
that. I
then
noticed that too. That was not good, but whatever.
yeah, and then his tantrum leads to a conversation with his cellmate next to him, which is insinuated because he uses the word. He goes, "That's the problem I got. The one day you're on top, the next day you're just
Right.
you're just another clown, like another clown." When he cuts to him, he's got kind of a smile, but it's kind of scarred. His hair is kind of wild, and people are like, "Oh, it's the Joker." Could be the Joker. The people are like, "Oh, it's Two-Face." Could be Two-Face because his face is a little more scarred than usual. Now, I will say this: Matt Reeves in another interview
for that being Two-Face, but yeah.
You remember
know,
this
but
is Batman year 2. He had one or two big cases under his
I
belt.
guess
So
it just
who knows?
seems. But either way, yeah. Go ahead.
So Matt Reeves did say that one of the scenes, because the movie used to be longer.
I heard
So
that, or heard
and,
that, yeah.
and one of the scenes was he goes to Arkham and he asks the Joker for help to help like profile. And
It's
so
kinda like a Hannibal
obviously
Lecter
it's the
kind of deal.
Joker.
Yeah.
Right, it's the
Of course, it's
Joker.
the Joker.
And I kind of liked it. But here's the thing: it was a scene that was given, but it wasn't necessary. Like no part of that. At no point in me watching the movie going, "Oh man, I could really use Joker right about now." Like I was very content with the movie as was.
Absolutely, yeah. For one thing, yeah, it was just thrown in there for whatever reason. Fine.
Well,
But listen,
I will say,
I wouldn't have minded. For me, and you know, and Pete said the same thing. Like it was like watching a CW version of Joker. It was so bad that
It was my
like we were begging for Jared. That's how bad it was. I'd rather seen Jared Leto.
I disagree. I disagree.
Was,
it was so casual
that
because
laugh was
that's
terrible.
the thing about the Joker.
He looked awful.
I like I like when they both started laughing at the end. I thought that was
Oh,
fun. And I'll tell you how much I liked it because it got me excited for something. And I'll tell you what it got me excited for, because he's hanging out with the Joker. There's going to be a sort of like a an apprenticeship of crazy, where the Riddler's going to be like, oh, this is how, if you really narrow in your crazy, you get to achieve this. And I think hanging out with the Joker, because of this universe and the way it is, wouldn't it be fun if the Riddler adopts his green suit and bowler hat because the Joker tells him, if you're going to go out, you got to go out in style. And he sees the Joker put on his purple suit and he's like, I
oh.
need a suit. Like, I got excited about that. Like, that would be
And
great.
most
Like,
other
just,
Batmans, I would say, yeah, not in this world that he's done for. That Matt Reeves created.
I mean, it's not going to be, it's not going to be
I
that
know it won't be.
verbatim. Like, you don't have to write like that. But like, the Joker inspires him to present himself better.
It really,
I think that's gonna be for like
it
a
really
part
depends
three.
what
I could see
what
something like
Matt
that,
Reeves
and I'd be really
continues. If
excited
Matt
about it.
Reeves continues to do this kind of tone, like not to do a superhero film, just do a good film, right? I don't see something like that happening. Because the
Right.
more he goes into that, the more it becomes a superhero, a typical superhero film, which would be great, be cool, but it's not what the big appeal about the Batman to me was, you know?
Think of think of think of the of Goodfellas when they start teaching him how to dress like a gangster. Like, it's not be
I know, but
verbatim like that, but I
I
feel
mean,
like
if he wants to dress up with a
I
suit, not a green, it's just so on the nose. I just don't know if it fits. Then it becomes silly. I think personally, if he now dress up as a regular suit and looks nice, and they listen, you're a villain, act
I know it's
accordingly,
not.
right?
I think it's gonna be
I can see that.
it's gonna be a green suit. I don't think it's gonna have a bunch of question marks
Even the
everywhere.
green's a bit
Maybe
much.
it
Just a
what
nice suit.
I go for green, and I even have him redraw the question mark that he had on his army jacket. He redraws it on there. He's like, I need
Yeah.
this. Like, it's
I mean,
always his
I don't think
obsessive
we're
compulsiveness,
gonna see him
because the
anyway, but
Riddler
yeah.
is obsessive compulsive.
I don't
I
think
think that
I
would
don't
be
think
really
we'll see.
fun
Maybe we'll see an
for
arc for
me.
sure. I doubt it. But I don't think we're going to see these guys. The Joker, maybe. I don't think he's even doing a Joker. To be honest with you, I think he's talked about Mr. Freeze,
Joker,
which is a good thing because
I don't think the
if we
Joker
get
should come out.
that, I want to see CW before everything starts, and I understand why they're giving us that Joker.
I don't want the Joker to come out until
I,
the third movie. Like, I think you
I don't think
save him for
he
the
would do him at
third.
all, dude. We've seen. I mean, like I said,
Really?
I love the Joker, right? But we've seen some. This, like I said, there's a rose gallery guys you could use and make a cool story. We don't need the Joker now. We just don't. Save him for whatever they're planning in DCU, whatever. Great. I don't know. I want to see other stuff. Good. Listen, we've seen Batman. We've seen Joker in almost every Batman, I guess. I mean,
So
can we
here,
take a
I gotta
break?
tell
We've
you,
seen Jared Leto. We've seen this version is a Joker for what it's worth. Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. We've seen it. We got a Joker single standing on film. Let's break away from the Joker. That's what I want to see. Just personally, as great as he can be, I get it. Because all we're gonna do is compare to Heath Ledger. That's all we're gonna do,
so
and we're gonna say it's
I,
not as good.
I got, I gotta say, because of got me excited about thinking, I rethought my Batman sequel, and I took out the Black Mask, because the Black Mask, he's not crazy enough to be. When I saw the level of the Riddler, I go, I want all the crazy to be here. I want everybody to be this crazy all the time. So the you have, like I said, you have the Penguin making his big push, and so instead of going to war with Black Mask, which I hope they do for like
Sure.
the Penguin series, it should be the Penguin is taken over 76% of Gotham's underworld. The last holdout is this old crime boss who his son is like always like, I need to be the best because I want my father's respect.
Okay.
The Penguin kills
Okay.
the crime
Fine.
boss in front of his son, and it messes up his son a lot. Now his son is a grown man. He's a child. He's like in his 30s, but like, to see how the Penguin kills his dad, and he wasn't able to stop it, breaks him, because he's always said, I have to be the best for my dad. And so, just like in Peacemaker, you know how Peacemaker's haunted
Mm-hmm.
by the ghost of his dad? This guy assumes the control of the crime family, and it's going to be. I would love to see this. Have you heard of a Batman villain called the
Yeah.
Ventriloquist?
Of course.
I want to do a really fucked up version of ventriloquist, which is almost like a psycho Norman
So he has
Bates,
his dad as
where
the puppet.
this guy has
Yeah.
right, this guy has basically made like a mannequin of his dad, and it's still like his dad is still running it, but it's all his ideas, and it's just he's crazy. He's out crazying the Joker, and his big move is to kill, is to either put Harvey Dent on the take or kill him. And when Penguin realizes that he thinks he's going to do the same thing, and that's when they both try to kill Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent becomes Two Face, and then it becomes a war on two fronts. And after both guys in their own distinctive manners, well, like one crime and one by the law, and Batman's trying to save, stop the two crime guys, so Harvey can't go after them, and then try to save Harvey, which was his. You can't make Harvey Dent Batman's best friend as it was in the comic books, unless it was his childhood best friend. Like he hasn't seen, like maybe one of the things that about his humanity is that he's reconnecting with Harvey Dent, which is
Maybe
the kid he knew when
another
he was
orphan.
like when he
So
was growing
yeah,
up.
obviously have to be an orphan, I guess. Or well, it doesn't have to be an
No, not
orphan,
an
but
orphan. No. Like he was, his family was
yes.
friends with the Waynes, and they knew each other from like 6 to 11. That's an integral part of your life. You still remember
Sure.
your first friend. And so now, because of what's going on, he hasn't been in Gotham. He's been in Metropolis or whatever. So he's coming back to help with the reconstruction of Gotham because he's got a history in like mob law to make sure that he can go after like crime families. And because that he gets involved in this crime war between the ventriloquist and Penguin, but he's got this dark secret. He becomes Two Face, and the whole thing. And I think that could really work. And the only way I see could work in Mister Freeze is that Mister Freeze is the hitman that the Penguin hired to kill the ventriloquist's dad.
That's a lot of villains in there.
I think
It's a
it could
lot.
work.
It's a lot. I
I
mean,
think it could
obviously, I
work.
think because Matt Reeves said that's well, he said that's a character he's interested in. For whatever that's worth, doesn't mean it's Mr. Freeze, but I think the Mr. Freeze. I think in Mr. Freeze,
And
I don't think you have. I mean, I think it just Freeze will be the show, right? The main event. Like he's the Riddler of this next movie. You still have the Penguin in there because
right.
he's in that world, but he's doing his thing. But I don't know. That's a lot. But I think
So would you
Freeze is
would
doable. I mean,
would you
after the more I thought about it, at first, I'm like, yeah, but the more I think about it, it's doable. You know.
here's the thing I was thinking about. You know how they have
Mm-hmm.
nitroglycerin? Maybe because like he was exposed to something, he has to like breathe in nitroglycerin, and so it's like the ice, and that's why he's called Mr. Freeze. And like I said on our old episode or other episode about how like it affects how cold his body is, how hard it is. That's why he's gonna be like a mob enforcer kind of thing. And he's doing all this because he needs money because his
Right,
girlfriend
his
was
wife or
exposed to the
whatever.
same thing
Right.
he got exposed to, or maybe a wife, and so he's trying to raise money to keep her alive, and that's why Wayne connects to his humanity at the time, and he realizes like I can't do this, and then when she realizes who he'd become, he kind of sacrifices himself and takes out the ventriloquist and the final thing, leaving only Two Face and the Penguin, and the legal side of Harvey Dent has now made a great case to go after the Penguin, but the criminal side wants to kill him before he can do that, and so Wayne now has to appeal to his humanity as well. So I think it's a double humanity thing. I think it could work, but I could definitely see be a mob war movie. I think that'll be it's got to be two families going at it, and but it's causing more villains to be created. The ventriloquist, Two Face, and Mister Freeze. Like it's this level of like I think it'd be really interesting to kind of see a mob war through the eyes of supervillains. And I think that would be the thing
That'd be interesting.
I
I'm,
would
I'm
like.
curious to see what the he said he hasn't even started even like thinking about part two yet.
I'm look.
I mean,
He
well,
has.
because
Let's
he's
be
working
honest.
on
He
like
has.
the Penguin stuff and the Arkham, so he's developing that. But so yeah, he's got some on his plate,
Okay.
man. He's not. I
All
don't
right.
think he's gonna be directing those. He's a showrunner involved, or what producing or whatever, run or writing it. But he's involved in some capacity. I don't think he's actually doing the shows himself, like James Gunn. But I think once he's done with that, then he can start about okay, now let's focus on part two because obviously it's gonna be a part two. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
we're
yeah.
used to this because this movie it opened at 134 as far as
Open last
the
Friday.
opening box office weekend was 134 million. It's a huge number, second biggest in the pandemic era, right behind Batman and behind Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Huge number, good for them. And you go back to our predictions. as far as what we thought it was going to make, and you were 112 million, and I was 125. So henceforth, once again, I hit it on the number, much like the Rotten Tomato score. Big number. You underestimated the power of the Batman, dude. You did by a lot.
I
We
did.
both were off
I
by
did.
a lot, but yeah.
I Well, I mean, listen. That's fine. That's fine. I was not sure what kind of movie I was gonna get. I'm glad. I'm. This is one of the few times I'm
No, this. I
happy
mean,
to be
good.
proven
I'm
wrong.
glad. I wanted because you obviously this is pretty much guaranteed a part two. Not that it wasn't going to happen anyway. Well, unless it bombed, but that was never going to happen. But yeah, this is right.
It's not Joel
This
Schumacher. It's
ensures
fine.
a part two. I mean, it's a big number. 130. That's very particularly from when it's rated, not rated R, but feels like an R. Very very adult.
It
That's
does.
virtually 3 hours long. You don't get as many screenings with that kind of film. So to do that well, it's pretty impressive, and I think it's a lot of good word of mouth and anticipation
Yeah.
for this. I mean, Batman is he's the crown jewel, right? He's what he
He's
is.
the tops. He is the
I mean, he
he's
is,
DC's Spider-Man.
yeah, he has to be, and it's funny because we're gonna get 4 versions of the Batman this year. We got Robert Patterson. We're gonna come back with Ben Affleck. He's gonna be in the Flash. We got Michael
Which
Keaton.
connects
Who's
to
going to be in Batgirl and the Flash, and also Keanu Reeves is doing his version of Batman in Superhero Pets or whatever. So
Super
4
Pets.
Batmans in a year. I think about that. I
Wow.
mean, come on. I mean,
Wow.
wow.
All you got were 3
Give you
Spider-Man.
4 Batmans, right? Animated. I mean, yeah. So that's damn. I thought I was like, man, 4 versions of it. That's crazy. And of one character. I mean, I don't think anybody but Batman, that character, could have that pulled off. Like we're not gonna see 4 versions of Iron Man or Captain America. It doesn't work.
No.
Spider-Man
Spider-Man, you
is
could.
possible.
I can see
yeah, it was
like
possible.
Spider-Verse.
You can do
Think
something.
about
Yeah,
Spider-Verse has got
Morales. So
a lot of
that's doable.
Spider-Man. So,
but again, and not
Yeah.
to say that Keanu Reeves is not animated, but obviously you got 3 versions of this character in a cinematic live action film. That's interesting. That's wow.
it's a good time to be
Batman,
alive.
apparently.
It's a great nerd time to
So
be alive.
anybody gets a Batman, and we're probably gonna get, well, not this year, but I'm sure we're gonna get whatever the DCU
20, 24,
version
25.
of Batman, because obviously this is not gonna be part of any shared universe. That's clear.
Right.
We're going to get another Batman that belongs to whatever world. I'm not saying Snyderverse, but what the remnants of Snyderverse. I assume we're going to get something like that down the road. I guess, because I don't think Michael Keaton's going to be the Batman going forward. I mean, at least maybe for this year, but
Old
I mean,
man
they
Batman.
could. I don't know,
Be
maybe
old
they'll
man
go that
Batman.
route, I guess. But eventually they're going to have to give us another Batman, right? They're going to have to give us something different as part of this world.
You know who I was thinking about would be a really cool Batman. Because I was thinking since Robert Pattinson is in the young Batman, the Batman is figuring out. I want a Batman who's been doing it not as long as Ben Affleck's Batman, like for like 10 years and not 20.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I hope they take that approach that
So
no
I was
more,
thinking,
origin story. Just insert Batman here and let's go. Right? I want to see that.
I would say Scott Eastwood's son. I would really like to see him as
I
Batman.
can see that. That's not a bad choice. Yeah,
He's tall,
Yeah, good
his
looking
jawline.
guy, yeah.
He can be serious, but he could smile when he's
I
got.
can see that.
Yeah, I told you I was going to give you my pick, and my pick
Yeah,
is Scott
that's a good
Eastwood. He's been attached and rumored to a bunch of different superhero things and never committed to anything. And I feel like Batman would be something that Scott Eastwood would dad, because Clint Eastwood would look at him and go, "That's not the worst you could have done."
Could you see him?
And you're like, all right.
Batman besides this one, like not have Batman in whatever the other world, whatever Snyder, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, you
possible.
could pull it off. You could pull it off for a time, but you'd have to bring a Batman in.
I would assume so, right? Because maybe they don't want to mix it up and say they're going to wait. Because this will, to make 2 more films, is at least another 6 years, more or less, before we get 3 of this version of Batman. Because at least 3 years before we see in the next Batman, and then 3 years beyond that to get part 3. So that's a long time.
I think the cheat would be you have a Batgirl and you got Michael.
That's what I'm saying.
I
could see them not introducing whatever Batman until this the Pattinson version, Matt Reeves, is done. Which would be 6-7 years from now. That's a long time. We're looking at Batman maybe, and new Batman 8-9 years from now. That's a long time. But listen, we're getting this, so I'm fine with it. I mean, they focus on Shazam and Black Adam, a lot of cool shit there. They just, give us a fucking Man of Steel 2 or Superman 2 or whatever.
Listen, you look. You just said you want to see something different. They're gonna give you a trilogy of different.
Great.
So when they finally give you a regular superhero Batman,
no, you're right.
You're like,
yeah.
cool.
So I could definitely see them that. Okay, no, we're gonna hold off. This is the Batman you're gonna get for now, and then we'll figure it out rest later. Now that okay, great. It's less confusing. People are like, another Batman. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. So I get that. To have two different Batmans at the same time can be a bit much. A little tricky. You can pull it off with Michael Keaton because he's royalty, right. But everyone else is like, it'll be odd. It's weird. So, but listen, overall, like I said, a 9 as a film, a 9, and
8.9. It's a smidge.
No.
But it's
fair enough.
Good enough to watch.
I guess watching it again, it's perfectly fine. I mean, I noticed more the length because it's a long film. Let's just be honest. It is what it is.
That's why this review is so long.
We've got so much Max, I'll watch it again when that comes out. What the hell? But overall, great stuff, man. Good for DC. Kudos to them, dude. I mean, listen, they're hitting on all cylinders right now.
Feather in your cap, DC. Congratulations. We didn't think you had it in you, but you did.
It's been a good run for that. I really hope that continues. This could be, like I said, this was a big year for them.
And I really hope that the people in DC don't look at the success of this movie and goes, that was a problem. We didn't go dark enough.
You can leave this dark.
Don't do that.
There's room for
just Batman.
You can have a little color for stuff, a little dark. You can have it all, right? You can. So could have said this. I'm excited. This could be a big year for DC, man. They're off to a good start. You can't complain. There's nothing you can say, right? I mean, I don't think anybody. Well, maybe people might complain about DC, but right now they're hitting it, dude. It is what it is.
Listen. Your next DC movie coming up has The Rock in it. Don't mess it up.
It's got The Rock, so it's already good. It's already. You put The Rock, the movie's already at a 7. So it can only go up
as
from 7.
long
so
as Black Adam. As long as Black Adam doesn't lose his leg and run up a crane into a building, you don't. This is the only way you can lose a Rock. It's the only way Rock doesn't work. Is that you put it next to a giant CG monkey? I'm still in. Not amputee leg across a crane. Right. That's where you lose me. Like so as long as that doesn't happen, is already Black Adam's fantastic.
It can't get worse than a 7. That's The Rock eats a 7, and then you start from there. You're gonna go from there. You can't go down below 7.
Honestly, I will put The Rock from Escape from Witch Mountain above that movie. That's just saying. The category of Rock movies, that one's not
Journey Center of the Earth. I don't know. We're getting it. Did he do one?
Journey Center of the Earth? Yeah. My kids love that movie. I've seen it. That's still better than the amputee movie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Skyscraper? Was it Skyscraper? No.
Sky something. We'll find out.
But like I said, I think Shazam, it's already at a 7. It can go up from there. If it's at 8, not great. And then we got Flash, Aquaman. So, listen, big year. And Marvel, too. Let's not forget, Marvel's going to come at it. Doctor Strange, Thor
coming up, man.
Black Panther's the only one I'm kind of worried about. But, well, that's even if it comes out this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I think I might get pushed.
It might get pushed.
But whatever.
But whatever. It's there for now. So, we'll continues a schedule. So, but yeah, dude, awesome stuff, dude. Good movie. Check it out if you guys haven't seen it. What the hell's wrong with you? It's good. It's really get out there. It's great. Support it.
It's fun.
Yeah,
go see the movie.
It's a good big screen experience film. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's worth watching.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're like, I'm only gonna go out for specific movies, this is one of those movies to go
for sure. And then this will hold you over to Doctor Strange in a couple months, even more so that Morbius may seem like a huge step down when we see Morbius next month. We'll be like,
yeah, you're right.
Whatever.
Especially because he played the Joker, it's gonna be like it's kind of like the Batman.
way it was scheduled to be released should have been before that, which it was before the Batman, and what probably would have been better served being released. That would have been a good appetizer. Okay, Morbius. All right, cool.
I'm just worried now that the April 1st release date is more of a joke on us.
I'm worried about the film. I don't know why. Just because that's how it is, and it could be just because whatever. Because it's hard to follow this.
You need that's why it's April. We have a couple of weeks to watch it.
What benefits Doctor Strange is having Morbius come up between, because then you can you wash away Batman, and Morbius puts you in a mood, whatever, and Doctor Strange lifts you back. Doctor Strange could be the Doom to Titans. It's exactly what.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's
easy. Easy. Doctor Strange is going to be the
It,
peacemaker to
it could
Titans.
be.
Like that's
Listen,
what
for me,
you're.
Morbius is
Yeah.
great. I don't know. I'm just talking shit, but maybe.
Look, let's be honest. Even if Morbius is good, it's
No,
not
no,
going to
no.
be
Look, that's not
Batman
gonna be
good,
Batman's good.
and
It's
it's not
not.
going to be
That's
Doctor Strange good. It could
no. I
just
just
be
want it to be
good.
good. Yeah,
It could
if
be
it's like
good,
Venom
but
good,
it's
I'm
not.
fine. To be honest with you, I expect Venom good. I mean, if it's better,
I expect Venom good
great.
too. That's
But
the level. Yeah,
the bar
I'm
is
good
not
with
high
that.
for that movie. Give
No,
it,
not at all. Like all you got to do is not be Batman Robin, and we're good. That's all you have to do.
nay,
Don't be Batman
be
Robin.
better than Eternals. That's the thing for the year, there.
Eternals was good. It was just long, just long.
I'm not
The,
saying it's
the story structure's
Eternal.
off, but the quality was
Eternals
good.
is whatever, but just be better than Eternals. That's all I'm saying. Be better.
Be better than Batman and Robin.
Anything's better.
That's all I say. Be better. Oh wait, be better than Black Widow. We can both
Definitely be better
agree.
than Black Widow.
Be better
That's
than Black Widow.
clearly yes. That this without
That's it.
question
Be
be
better
better
than
than Black
Black
Widow.
Widow.
So either way, neither here nor there. Eric, tis the end.
Guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nerdsplaining. We appreciate all your following. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. All this stuff helps them with the algorithms and the computer overlords that program all this stuff. Don't forget, if you want to check out all the original audio episodes, you can go to ericdasilva.com, which is my website. You can see all the original audio episodes there on the landing page. Don't forget to buy my album, Adorably Offensive, available everywhere, but available for purchase also on my website as well. Don't forget to check out Nerdsplaining every week on the Latin Nerd Network, all right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe because you get out other shows like Nerdsplaining, but you also get The Watch List and Thanos' Choice and other shows we got coming up. Super excited to talk about all that very soon. Guys, as always, we appreciate everything. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Nerdsplaining Pod or on Twitter at Nerdsplaining_. Once again, my name has been Eric Da Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know.